Hey Dad, will the factory help me with design and development?
So what are the steps of design and development?
I've got my garment. Does that class as design? Does that class as development? I know what I want. I've got the garment.
If all you need is to have it copied, if everything is the way you want it to be.
I do want a seam in a different position, and I do want a bit of fancy work, artwork on it. How do I get that information to the factory?
You can make the adjustments or create a tech pack, which is just documents with pictures and text that explain the changes. There are 3 steps. There's research, develop, and then there's document. What does researching your design mean?
I'm going to go down the local market and into the shops, and I'm going to have a look and see if there is somebody who sells what I want to sell. I'll do a little bit of research on the internet. Everybody wants something that's different, so I'm going to have a look around, see what I can get, and if I can't find what I want, I'll have to do something about it. I'm not a good drawer, but I have to learn how to draw.
So after you've studied the style trends, color trends, and studied your target customers' needs, and you understand your price point, then is it time to develop your idea into actual prototypes, actual physical samples? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, but I don't know how to sew. I don't know where to get the fabric from, but I know I can buy a garment. Is that going to be okay if I buy a garment and get a Sharpie pen and do some drawings on it and say, I want a seam here and I don't want this seam here? Is that okay?
Depends on how much changes there are. In an ideal world, you'd find somebody locally that can stitch together a prototype, like a sample room or a small sewing factory. It all depends on how many times you'll change the original design. It could take you up to 3 different prototypes before you finally get to the point where your development is finished. And once your development is finished, do you think it's a good idea to document all the technical details on paper?
I've got a garment then. Do I need to document it? Because I've actually got a garment.
What if you want to get a price quote from more than 3 factories, but you only have 2 samples?
I need a document. Then I can send them the document, yes? And they'll be able to work from that?
So research, develop, and then document. Those are the steps in the design and development phase. In general, the design and development cost for one style anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 if you add up not just the cost of materials to make samples, but also your time, the opportunity cost. And if you pay a professional who's good at tech packing, then they're not going to be cheap. On the subject of who will do design and development, or will the factory do design and development for me? What is the primary role of a factory?
They're going to make the garment for me.
Correct. Factories make things, they don't design things. Design and production are 2 different areas of expertise. There are some factories that will do design and development. When, in your experience, have you seen a factory help a brand do design and development?
Next, give them a sketch, give the factory a sketch, and then they let the factory make the garment.
So what's special about Next compared to a startup who only wants to make 1 or 2 garments and only wants to do 200 pieces?
The size of the order that Next are going to give it with.
Who is Next and what kind of orders do they place?
Next will place anything up to 40,000 for a style.
So if we assume they make $1 per style, we're making $30,000. So if they have to spend $2,000 to $5,000 to develop one style, yet they're making $30,000, does that make business sense?
Yeah.
What about a startup that's
doesn't make business sense? If a startup is only going to place an order for 1,000 garments, and the factory are looking at making $2, even $2 profit, that's only $2,000, and the cost of developing it has disappeared. Whereas with Next, or in America, Walmart will place an order for 50,000.
What's your advice? Will the factory help you with design and development?
No, they won't. You tell them what you want to make, and you give them a garment, and you say, I want you to make this, and they'll go, yeah, we'll make that for you. They won't develop it for you. They won't look at the fabric, they won't look at the trims, they won't look at anything. They will just make it.